Welcome into Death Valley, where Florida State falls 24-10 to the Clemson Tigers in a game of perennial ACC powers that not necessarily are playing that way this season.
There are no ACC powers anymore, Ira. You saw the slate this weekend. Nobody beats anybody.
This is the Warchant WRAP brought to you by Cummins. Go to CumminsLifestyle. Search for CumminsLifestyle on Instagram and social media, and you'll get all the information about Cummins and all the great generators they provide and energy sources.
So many generators, so much energy, so much energy sourced.
Florida State falls 24-10 to a Clemson team that had lost 6 straight games to Power 4 opponents in this stadium.
Yeah.
Not really Death Valley so much anymore, but Florida State couldn't do much. They moved the ball. They had some opportunities to score.
Don't they?
But they come up with 10 points, 3 points in the second half, and fall to 1-5 in the ACC.
Is that right? Yeah.
With,
and so 2-12 in their last 14 ACC games.
It's not good. It's not good. It's 24-10. It's not an embarrassing blowout debacle of a loss, but it was just another ugly game in a season full of ugly games.
And it's not like I didn't feel like they're not outmanned. They weren't overmatched. And you can look at this game and be like, well, gosh darn, if Randy Pittman catches the pass, if Tommy doesn't overthrow Squirrel White by 1,000,000 yards, if they don't fumble at the 8-yard line.
By like 6 or 7 yards.
I mean, he might as well have thrown it into the lake outside the stadium. I mean, it was crazy how much he overthrew him. We did ask him about that play, by the way, so go watch the video afterwards. He kind of explains what he's thinking there. But yeah, I just thought it was more of the same. You know, I wrote my column that's already up about it's just another road loss. There's 7 in a row losses on the road for this program. It's another ACC loss, like we just said. They're 2-12. I have a horrible stat that's in my column, Ira, but I'm going to use it because I don't care. Because this isn't a good Clemson team. It's not a horrible Clemson team, and this was a good crowd tonight. Much better a crowd than it should be for 3-5 versus 4-4. But it's still Florida State Clemson, and it mattered to these folks, and it was pretty loud at times. But Clemson lost last week to Duke and gave up 45 points. Duke lost today to UConn. That was UConn's second win over an ACC team this year. They also beat Boston College. Meaning, Jim Mora Jr. and the UConn Huskies have as many ACC wins as Mike Norvell in the last 2 years. They're not in the ACC, and they have as many ACC wins as Mike Norvell.
There was a time, though, it looked like UConn was going to join the ACC. And
right,
thank goodness.
Paying homage. Yeah, they're a juggernaut. Holy cow.
Yeah, man, this game was, I think, I don't want to say more frustrating than some of the other losses, but in
close,
a way it was because
this was there to be had.
This is a Clemson team that's very beatable.
Yeah.
It's a defense that, as you mentioned, they gave up 40-something points last week. In their last 2 games, losses at home to SMU and Duke, they gave up a total of 81 points.
Yeah.
You scored 10.
Yep.
And so many opportunities. Early in the game, second possession, Florida State gets the ball at Clemson's 35-yard line because Clemson shanks a punt. And you go down inside the 10-yard line, you fumble. Not because somebody hit you, but just a quarterback-running back exchange.
Right.
Then you have, as you said, the deep ball to Squirrel White where he's wide open, overthrow him.
That was incredibly close.
Randy Pittman drops.
Do they know we're here?
Randy Pittman drops you think there's like a consortium of
ACC folks that are like they've started up and just started scaring them. The Pittman drop,
which came, I think, 2 plays after a Chrome
at your own 39-yard line on 4th and 1. Great play call, wide open, wide. It couldn't have been designed better, and it was dropped.
There were other drop passes, and then in the second half, instead of the drop passes, it was penalties. Every time they would kind of get something going, they'd commit a penalty. And just, I was thinking about this as we were driving up here, Corey. Corey and I were driving up from Atlanta to Clemson today.
Well, you drove all the way from Tallahassee today, which is nuts for this game. What a warrior you are.
It's a love for the game, love for the sport, love for this team.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, as we were listening to the Indiana game and the way they won that game, and then watching the clip of the kid
making that catch, unbelievable catch.
It just made me think about the teams that find ways to win. It's like so much of it to me, I believe, is just a conviction and a belief and there's something special about teams when everybody comes together and they play at a high level and they all raise their level of play. This is like the exact opposite of that.
Yeah, and there's plenty of plays that, signify that illuminate that in this game. But the one to me is it's the 2-play stretch. It's Pittman dropping the pass, and Pittman's a good football player.
He's very good.
It's just a bad drop.
I think Randy Pittman's one of the 5 best football players.
One of your best players. It's just a really unfortunate drop. And then the next 2 plays later, Clemson runs a flea flicker, flip it back to Klubnik. Arnaud is right there to make a tackle, doesn't. He could have taken the running back or Klubnik and kind of didn't get either. And then Klubnik just tosses it up.
And Joseph's in the play, and probably in place to maybe make a play on the ball.
You think?
And he doesn't.
And he doesn't at all. And it's like, and Edwin Joseph has made some big plays for this program, and has been a good player at times. That was just a guy getting out-athleted, and more importantly, I think getting out-competed for that ball. And I don't know why. I think Edwin Joseph is a competitor, but it's what bad teams do. It's weird for me to say that, though, because they just lost to a bad team. Like, you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
But Antonio Williams is a good receiver.
But Clemson was at home.
Yes.
And so that is one thing. Like
and they
you
do have
said,
a good offense.
Yeah, they do. And this was and that's a good receiver. And it was a good crowd. And so that was my concern going into the game. Even though Clemson had lost, and your concern, and I think all of our concerns going into this game, was that Clemson is not a good football team, but they were getting to play at home. And we saw what Florida State looked like last time they went on the road, which was kind of like this. Stanford.
Yeah, Stanford's crowd is very similar, and the stadium is very similar to what we're in here.
What was similar to was you were able to move the ball.
Do they pet a rock before they run down a hill, or what do they do?
I think they have a pet rock.
They hump a tree.
No, they have a pet rock.
They have a pet rock.
And they all name it. They take turns naming it. And anyway, no, but my point was, like, you have to be able to execute on the road. Like, it takes a certain level of focus and determination to play well on the road. And if you didn't have it at Stanford, like, why would you have it tonight? And then from a matchup standpoint, obviously Clemson's secondary has been a wreck. Their safeties have gotten lost on the time. We saw it tonight. They get lost on plays all the time.
Yes.
But Florida State couldn't make them pay.
They don't, and that's why your strengths on offense, and you do have some folks, I promise. It's not your quarterback reading the field and exploiting bad safety play. It's just not. He is not that quarterback. I also don't think this coordinator is that coordinator. So this was a bad matchup because the running game was essentially non-existent. They didn't even try it, really. I think the running backs in the first half had 5 carries. Meanwhile, Castellanos was your leading rusher.
You know, Tommy had some positive runs, which was
good to see. But even, I hate to kill the kid because he is out there. But right before the fumble, that's a play that needs to be a touchdown. He rips off a 24-yard scramble on 3rd down and just runs straight out of bounds. If he puts his foot in the ground, I think he scores. And again, I'm an athlete. I recognize elite athleticism, and I just, you know that. I feel like you put your foot in the ground and go back left, and it's a touchdown. Instead, he was happy kind of going out of bounds, getting a 1st and goal at the 10, as if he's playing, I don't know, with Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase.
Like, I just got to move the chains.
Yeah, because we're going to make some plays. It's like, man, you're the guy that needs to make the plays. You need to go make, you were at Stanford. If he doesn't do the helicopter into the end zone, they don't score. You've got to be that guy that goes and makes those special plays. And he made some nice plays, but not special enough. And then, yeah, man, I think they don't play well on the road. They've never really played well under the road consistently under this staff or this head coach. I don't know why that is, but it was really disappointing to see it again. I did think it was a bad matchup going in, but also your defense does not have to start out every road game by giving up a time-swallowing, quarter-ripping 92-play drive, which is what they always do every time. The last 2 times you've been on the road, the opposing offense has taken half the quarter away, and you're down when you get the ball.
Yeah, it's weird because
quit deferring. Quit deferring.
It's weird because this defense.
They're running down the hill, gang.
The defense is not the reason you lost this game. I mean, Florida State's.
Clemson's
got a very good offense. In that win against Duke, or that loss to Duke, they scored 45 points.
But that's a horrible way to start.
No, I got you. I got you.
You're not setting a tone, man.
I got you. I'm just saying, like, if this is the first thing we're going to talk about the defense.
It isn't. We got after the offense pretty good, I thought.
But if the defense overall gave you chances to win.
You gave
up
a bunch 6 points in the second half.
Yeah, they had a bunch of stops. They had a bunch of opportunities, and you got field position. Like, there were times where Florida State had great field position.
Yes.
First half, you had the ball on Clemson side of the field several times.
When was the last time they started a drive in somebody else's territory?
Yeah, not often.
I mean, Kent State. It has been a long time since they did that. They're one of the worst in the country at starting field position. So they had their first drive, I feel like they were around midfield. I'd like Squirrel White to go make some catches and just run forward and fall down, but even still they had pretty good field position and just didn't take advantage of it. And it's just mistakes, man. It's not like they're a horrible team. They're not embarrassing, but what is embarrassing, Ira, and again, this is in the column, I hope you guys read it, is this team with this quarterback, this offensive line, and more importantly, this offensive coordinator, who you spent a ton of money on, scored less points against Clemson than last year's offense. That's almost it
They were at
defies
home,
belief. They were. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Never mind. My fault. It's hard to. Duke proved it's really hard to score points in here. So did Syracuse and SMU.
Yeah, man.
Troy.
That goes back to my point, and I'm not saying that this is the one determining factor about where this program is with Mike Norvell, because we have to talk about that now. We got to talk a little big picture. But again, not playing with that conviction to me.
Jim Mora might be available. He
guys,
does nothing but grab dubs in the ACC.
No, it's that's what seems to be missing, and so now from a big picture standpoint, Florida State falls to 1-5 in the ACC. They've got 3 games remaining.
All winnable.
Two of them are very losable, though. Although
yes,
Florida,
they're all losable.
Florida
but they're all
looked like
winnable.
they may have rolled over.
Florida looked worse than you did. The
tonight,
difference is
Kentucky.
Florida's already announced they're making a decision.
Right.
They've already made their decision. They will not be bringing this staff back.
But to win at NC State,
Yeah.
to win at Florida, I mean, it's a lot to ask. You get Virginia Tech at home next week. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this week and going forward. A few weeks ago, I think
Any chance you think an announcement comes Sunday?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think it's possible. To me, it's going to come down to, look, I know Florida State does not want to spend $60 million to tell Mike Norvell to leave, and then another $10, $20 million for all these assistants.
Yeah, you're going to spend $100 million to go hire Alex Golesh or something, essentially. So it's a lot of money.
That's clearly not what they want to do.
Yes. But
it's
this ain't it either.
That's the problem. And so, yeah, man, by the time people watch this, if you don't watch it until Sunday, there may already be news right now. I mean, again, we don't know what's going to happen, but I do think it's kind of up in the air. I think Florida State, I think there were a lot of people in the Florida State administration camp, decision makers who thought maybe they needed to make a change after the Stanford game. They didn't do that. You get the win against Wake Forest at home, and then you come and look like this today. Again, I don't know. I think it's up in the air. I don't think it's a slam dunk that they make a change. It wouldn't shock me if they do. But even if they don't, you look at these last 3 games, and it's like, man, is this team going to win in Gainesville? Yeah, Florida looked bad at Kentucky.
Even if they
but they're going to be at home in their season finale.
Sure, but
you're going to be on the road again.
At this point, it's like it doesn't matter. Almost. If you go win at Florida, who cares? You beat a horrible – Kentucky just did it. And they don't have a coach. They beat them 38-7. So it's like you don't get any kudos for that either. Yeah. And then beating Virginia Tech, you don't get any flowers for that either.
I think if you're talking yourself
this would have been at least, I know Clemson's not any good this year. This still would have been a nice feather in the cap for this team to go and win at Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we were after the Virginia Tech game was okay. Because the
Wake Forest game.
After the Wake Forest game. The players came out in defense of Mike Norvell, so that they love him, they support him, they believe in him. And that was all great, but one of the things we talked about on the wrap last week was, okay, well, you're going to get 4 more chances to show that, and then this is the way you play.
And I don't think they just played.
I'm not saying they quit, but
they didn't fight. Yeah, you have to make plays. And what I think you use this word. It's the word that I keep coming back to. When they play these types, the last 2 years, there's just been no conviction. I don't think anybody on this sideline thinks they're going to win these games. I just don't. I don't know why. I don't know why that has to. I don't know if that permeates from the head coach or it seeps down from the head coach or it's just completely unlucky. But something has to change because they go into these games and it's like you just don't feel like you're going to win. You never feel good about it.
Feels like there's waiting for something bad to happen.
Yes, right.
And never imposing your will.
Correct.
And there were some plays. I mean, there's some plays here or there where some big hits defensively. There's some, nice catches or some, there were some positive plays throughout. But when you have to have them, they don't make them.
And this is the worst Clemson team in probably 20 years or close to it, and you were down 18-0. I mean, that's just, I know you fought back, sort of. It was not non-competitive, but you never got within 1 score again. There's just, you have Wayne McCoy just foolishly. I'm not even talking about the personal foul. I don't even know what happened there. He wipes out it would have been 1st and goal at the 7, and he's just straight pushing a guy for no reason, just blocking him while the ball's in the air. That's just, I don't know what he was doing. He wasn't running a route at all, and then he got in a penalty. He got 25 yards of penalties in 2 straight plays.
Because they're in a position to make it a
one-score game. Yeah, and then there's real pressure on Clemson again, and of course that doesn't happen. And it's just more of the same. It's more losses. It's, again, 2-12 in your last 14 ACC games. It's not fireable to lose at Clemson, even a bad Clemson team. It's not. I think the Stanford one was. I think this isn't as bad as the Stanford loss, even though the score was closer.
But again,
it's the same. It feels like the same MO every time they're on the road.
When you have these things
pile up,
the 4 straight losses, including a Stanford loss, it's like, okay, well, If you can somehow rally the troops
Yeah.
and go, but that doesn't happen, and here we are.
It's just disappointing that Clemson's having their worst season in so long in Dabo's tenure, and they still beat you by 2 touchdowns. That's deflating, and it makes you wonder where does this season go, and then obviously more importantly, where does the program go after this season? Because look, man, they're probably. I think they'll win 2 of the next 3. I might be foolish; they might go 0-3, but they're good enough to win 2 of the next 3. But for what? 6-6?
Yeah.
You know? Sorry, Ira, I didn't mean to bore you.
No. I'm just.
You're contemplative.
Yeah, contemplative maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. Is right now is we don't know what's going to happen. I think it's a toss of the coin. I really think. We talked to Mike Norvell after the game. You can watch that video. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear him.
He whispered like he was in a library or at a funeral. Honestly, it was
dejected.
Really hard to hear.
Yeah, and he's very dejected and.
The setting is really tough. You're in the tunnel with a lot of equipment being tossed around.
But he was essentially whispering.
Yes.
And I think he knows that they have to make a decision. And there's no the bottom line here is there's no good solution. I don't think.
Right.
Because if you make a change, you're looking at spending $50, $60, $70 million that you don't have. You got to figure out a way to come up with that money. And if you keep him, where's this program going? So I don't think there's no good solution.
To the top, man.
To the moon.
To the moon. You can't climb unless you're in a ditch.
Fair point.
So I'm just saying, I get what he's doing. It's fun to climb. It's not as fun to hang out at the mountaintop. It gets cold and isolated. Get your butt back up on that climb now. So yeah, you got a chance. You're 4-5. And Wake Forest beat Virginia. This was so crazy. Wake Forest went and beat Virginia. You could have beaten Virginia. Louisville loses to Cal. Teams are losing all the time. Your team just loses all the time. Louisville's won a lot more than they've lost here lately. But Wake, who you beat like a drum, somehow finds the resolve and the response to go on the road and beat one of the top 15 teams in the country. I think it was on the road. It might have been at home. I don't remember. Meanwhile, it doesn't. You come here. You can't build on success, and you obviously can't respond to failure. And that has been a calling card for all of except 19 games. And they happen to win all those 19 games where they did show some resolve.
But listen, guys, if you need any energy needs,
remember the last time we were here at night, Ira? By the way,
it was a thriller.
It was 2013. It was a different vibe.
Yeah,
it's a different vibe. Those were good times. I had hair.
Different life.
I had hair. I had a different wife. Anyway, Shanna, Steph, shout out, both of you. Good times.
Go to Instagram, search for CumminsLifestyle, and you get all the information, all the different features that they have there. Cummins is the brand. Generators,
follow them on Instagram too. They have a lot of followers on Instagram. You can get all the deals there and see what you want. Everybody needs a home generator.
And stay connected to Warchant.com because we're going to have plenty of coverage. Like I said, we'll see. It could be an interesting Sunday. We'll see how things play out here for Florida
It'd be crazy if they didn't fire him after the Stanford loss, but losing to Clemson's would that be the ultimate indignity to Dabo's program? Is that if you lose to Dabo now you get fired? It'd be kind of a nice little shot at Dabo. We can't have this anymore. He just lost Stanford. Stanford's up and coming. Clemson's on the.
If you lose to that Clemson team and
that
coach,
you're done. You can't do it anymore.
All right, for Corey, this is Ira signing off from Clemson, South Carolina, where Florida State falls 24-10. And guys, we're going to talk to you next time, no matter who the head coach is.